Hey, I'll make this response video to Godless Cranium's response video to another video. This is something I wanted to talk about for a while anyway. So this arguments about God knows best, this, that and the other. If you understood what God understood, you'd know why he does all these things and always allows all these seemingly horrible things to happen. Well, generally these people are saying God is all powerful and all that sort of thing, or can do everything that's logically possible and this, that and the other. People make it a lot harder for themselves when they do that, because it makes it so easy to refute all these arguments. If they dropped that and said, no, actually God isn't all powerful, he's doing his best, he's doing his best with what he's got, then you could possibly morally defend certain things. Because the problem is, religious people are constantly making bad analogies, and they're always comparing them to us, and a parent and child, this, that and the other. But the thing is, humans aren't all powerful like God is supposed to be. So sometimes humans have to do things which are ultimately in the best interest of other people, but the other person might not understand, and they might not like it at the time, but it's in their best interest. But the humans having to do this because they've got limited resources, limited power. If they could just make things better for the other person instantly, why would they need to go about it in this roundabout way? They wouldn't need to. Like that guy was talking about going off to college or whatever. If you're all powerful, you could just instantly gain the knowledge you needed or whatever without having to leave. You haven't to go off to college because you need to learn, if you see what I mean. So in that situation, same with everything. Like a parent might have to give a kid a vaccine and the kid doesn't understand it, and as far as the kid's concerned it's horrible, but the parent goes, no, it's for your own good, even if you don't understand it. And if the kid did understand it, he'd agree, okay, yes, it is for my own good. Later he could look back on it and say, yes, that was for my own good. But again, why are they doing it? Because of limited resources. If instead the parents could just make the kid immune instantly without having to stick a needle in their leg, then they'd do that, wouldn't they? If not, they're just a sadist. Or if they could just eradicate the disease, they go, oh, the disease is gone, all those diseases are gone, we don't need to worry about that anymore. So, the means to an end, that's what it is. This is about justifying, the end by the means, basically. This has to be done in order to achieve that, and then it's worth it. But that doesn't work when you're talking about something that's got no restrictions on it. Because anything that happens in it is happening because it's been chosen to be part of the method. The idea of God having a plan is just ridiculous. I mean, a plan is normally an idea of what's going to happen. You try and work out how you're going to do something. If you already know what's going to happen, the idea of having a plan is ridiculous. Got to stop saying ridiculous. So whatever goals God decides are best for whatever reason, it could achieve them any way it wants, presumably, using whatever method it wants, because it makes the rules, doesn't it? If it doesn't, this is my question, who's making the rules? Because there seems to be all these arbitrary restrictions suddenly put in. Oh, well, God has to do it this way. Well, why does he? Why? Now, where did that come from? One minute it's saying he's all powerful, the other it's like, oh, well, he has to work around this and that and the other. Why? Where is he getting this from? God doesn't have to work around anything. There would be no need for suffering at all, ever, in the whole world. No one would ever have to suffer. No animal would ever have to suffer or be unhappy. The argument normally to that is that, you can't be happy unless there's unhappiness. Like, you don't appreciate happiness unless you know unhappiness, or there could potentially be unhappiness. Well, the answer to that again is why. Who designed things that way? Who designed us that way? Well, God, presumably. Again, where's this restriction coming from? Does God have to work around that fact? Well, if not, then what good is the suffering? What does it achieve? If he's obsessed with whatever goal is best for us, even though he made us in the first place, and then he's deciding the goal is best for us, the whole thing is stupid anyway. But even if you say, he's got this goal in mind for me, he could achieve that goal without me having to suffer at all, or he can put the suffering in. And you know, me and him and everyone else get whatever he wants out of this. So it's his choice to put the suffering in that case, is it not? Just like it would be the parents' choice to stick a needle in their kid's leg even when they didn't need to. Or like Godless Cranium was saying, torturing someone to death instead of just killing them painlessly. So if God has to resort to means to the end, he's not all powerful. So you can't have it both ways, unfortunately. That's the thing. That's why I think theists never define God very well. There's always this vague collection of weird ideas. It's because it has to be an answer to everything, so it has to change. You know, in some situations it's all powerful, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it knows everything, you know. Sometimes it doesn't. You always have to have both sides of the contradiction. Like if it knows everything, it knows I hate suffering, and I'd rather not have it at all. But obviously it doesn't care. And it's going, no, well, you've got to suffer anyway. It's like, no matter what it knows, no matter how clever it is, and no matter how stupid I am, I know I don't like suffering. He knows that. He knows what he wants to achieve, even if I don't, and he knows it could be achieved without my suffering. So it doesn't matter how stupid I am or how clever I am. He's making me suffer, and I don't want to. Why? That makes him a sadist, doesn't it? Alright, well thanks for watching. Take care, see you later. Bye.